Hello, and welcome to Dungeons and Devs. I'm Xavier. I'm a 3D character artist from working at Insomniac Games, and on this very special Thanksgiving edition of Dungeons and Devs, we've got three very cool people: Jenny, Justin, and Doug. And Jenny, would you care to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and how you got into game development and the industry.
Okay, cool. So hi, I'm Jenny. I've been mostly working on mobile games. Let's see, how I got into the industry was kind of a fluke. There was a little like a job posting database at my college, and I just went through that when I was young,
Mm-hmm.
and they happened to have an internship for like a local tiny game studio. So I was like, sweet, and I went and interviewed over there, and they were like, okay, you're hired. That was it.
All right. Well, that's perfect.
Unusual, quick. Yeah.
Well, sweet. Justin, what about you?
Um, I guess when I was a teenager, I started doing Quake mods and stuff, and started. This was before Polycount, so did that. I went to Art Institute for animation degree, and a little bit after getting out of there, I got a job at Mythic Entertainment in Virginia, working on Warhammer Online,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've just been bouncing around the country, and right now I'm doing basically freelance generalist.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. And last but not least, Doug, welcome back, actually.
Good to be back. Kind of similar, actually. I've been playing games as a kid. The first creative thing I ever did was modding. It was Star Wars X-Wing Alliance. I changed an
Wow.
INI file to make the Super Star Destroyer flyable. Um,
Nice.
that was my grand start, and yeah, I actually went to the Art Institute as well while I was in the military. Finished off a game art and design degree. First work was as a contract artist for Boss Key on Lawbreakers.
Oh, wow.
And shortly after that, I started contracting at Epic Games as a tester and moved up to a contracted QA analyst and been there for the last going on 2 years.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here once again. And I believe that you're going to be playing one of the same characters that you played on your last time around. Is that correct?
Yes, say it.
Awesome. It's good to have you back. And actually, on that note, Jenny, what type of character are you going to be playing?
Hey, I'm playing a bard tonight.
Yes, I love bards.
They're a fun class to play as.
Yeah.
Do you need his character name now, or?
No, not really. And actually, I'm going to be referring to you guys by your first names. It's just,
Oh, okay.
I'm terrible with names. It'll be easier for me to remember if I'm just saying Jenny, Justin, Doug.
All right.
I actually do have one restriction about that, but before we get to that, Justin, what about you? What kind of character are you going to play?
Well, I picked from your pre-gens here, and I'm going to play a warlock
Ooh.
Yeah.
because I've never. It's funny because I remember I had to. I think the warlock was first introduced as was it a D20 book, something arcane.
I don't recall. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just always remember it was like weird, and so I was looking at this. It seems cool.
Yeah,
it's like
warlocks are fun.
cheating to get an advantage on your magic abilities.
Mhm. Yeah. Warlocks are a lot of fun. So, speaking of classes, speaking of character names and stuff like that, I have only one restriction, really, when it comes to playing on Dungeons and Devs, or just playing D&D with me in general, and that is that if you are going to do something, do it in the first person. Say, I would like to, I am going to, I want to. Because I find that it just makes things flow a little better. It goes a little quicker, and it's easier for people to just kind of like get into it quickly. The other, well, it's not a restriction, it's more just a recommendation. It is, if you're going to do something, make the worst choice that your character would make in the given situation, because that's what people usually do, and it always leads to better, more interesting, and more fun, just games and such.
Oh yes, it does.
Now you don't have to do that, but it's a recommendation because I always find it really funny and really fun. I also like natural ones and natural 20s because they lead to hilarious situations. But before we actually jump into the game, I just want to get a quick discussion going so that we can actually have something game dev related in this ostensibly game dev related little show. So essentially, what is a resource that you have found in your time working in game development that you would recommend to other people who are doing or trying to do the same thing that you're doing? It could be something as simple as a book you read or a website you go to, or it could be maybe like a working method. So what do you think? Do any of you guys have a specific thing that leaps out at you?
This might sound kind of strange, but for me, the first thing that came into mind was Twitter, because I was able to make like tons of connections with game developers in a really like friendly, social, casual environment where it's not like we go to GDC and you're just like trying to chat up people that you don't really know at the bar when they've just had a full day at GDC. They don't really want to socialize all that much, and it's really awkward. But Twitter seemed like it was pretty good for that, for networking.
I've actually found the same thing, and actually, the main way that I've gotten people to be, on Dungeons and Devs or whatever is through Twitter, because that's where I've been doing like most of my advertising and talking about nerd shit with other nerds. I definitely agree. Twitter seems like a really great resource for networking, that type of thing. And I've actually met several people in game development who I've met them through essentially talking to them on Twitter, just shooting the shit. What about you, Justin? Is there anything that comes to mind for you as far as resources?
Let me think, because I'm sure a lot of it's been covered in previous episodes.
Oh, that's okay.
Like, I got into the industry and not when I was learning 3D and everything, it was before YouTube, and trying to learn how to do 3D modeling on static text-based, maybe with a few images, tutorials like YouTube is amazing. So any information you want, if you're learning to do 3D, just go to YouTube and say, how do I make eyelids? How do I sculpt this? And everything is there. It's an amazing resource.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that as well. It seems like basically everybody I know has either made YouTube tutorials or constantly watches YouTube tutorials on how to do any number of things. That's an incredible resource, and it's something that I wish had been there more prominently when I was sort of first getting into the industry. Because man, there's just everything on there, right?
And especially even still use it. If I get an assignment, it's something I haven't done before. I'll be like, how do I model braided hair? And you'll find all these tutorials.
Just don't.
Just don't. Just pretend that it doesn't exist. I have a lot of experience with that, and none of it is good experience. What about you, Doug? Do you have any resources that you would suggest for getting into what you do?
You have the big ones are ArtStation, Polycount, YouTube. I'll second all those. One that I don't hear mentioned often, but has definitely been a huge help for me is what used to be digitaltutors.com, but has been rolled into Pluralsight. It is basically all it is an online compendium of tutorials, projects, full-blown from little modeling projects to full game projects, run through by different professionals, covering literally every content creator software you could imagine, from Photoshop to Lightbox to Max, Modo, even some of the larger engines. For students, I do believe most students get free access with a .edu email address. So definitely, if you're a student, it's a huge boon. And then there's different tiers of plans, I think. But that's been a huge one.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I know that there are a lot of really good tutorial, specific tutorial sites out there similar to that. There's things like Lynda, but it's great to see that, along with YouTube, there are starting to be ones that are more focused on game development and 3D and that type of thing. It's awesome to see that there's that content out there now and that it's a lot more accessible. Thank you guys. Thank you for sharing that. We're gonna have another question another discussion question after the break. But with that in mind, I think it's time to get into the game. You guys ready to play some D&D? All right. So
let's make Gygax proud.
So the Adventurers Guild. It's a very large guild. It spreads across multiple countries, multiple continents. It's a very rich guild in general, and the chapter of the Adventurers Guild that you all currently belong to, as fairly low-level members, is located in the large city of Villemire. Now, Villemire is a coastal city. It's a large port. It has several noble families, and there's a lot going on there. It's a big shipping hub, so there's a lot of stuff that the Adventurers Guild can do aside from just delving into tombs or slaying dragons. Sometimes they get hired to be, say, bodyguards, or sometimes since the Adventurers Guild attracts a lot of people who are just big and strong and buff, sometimes you get hired to move a crate from place to place, and you get paid for it. It's not exactly the most glamorous work, and certainly those really glamorous jobs where you're delving into a dungeon and fighting zombies and finding some sort of ancient artifact, those go to the higher level members. You guys aren't higher level members, unfortunately, but you do occasionally get some jobs that look like they could be pretty nicely paying. And luckily, one of those jobs for you guys came in recently. Since most of the other people around your level were out doing some of the more menial ones that day, Bailey, the guildmaster at the Adventurers Guild Hall, has sent the three of you to Lord Clegborne's estate. And with the instruction that you are to actually report to the head cook in preparation for something at the Harvest Festival. Now, you guys would know that the two really high-ranking rich lords in the city, Lord Vexler and Lord Clegborne, are constantly at each other's throats. They're always trying to one-up each other. They're very, very competitive, and things like the Harvest Festival are, no different. They'll throw huge feasts, and, one person will have an amazing theme for their feast, and the other guy will have, he'll kill a dinosaur and have that as the centerpiece for the feast. And this year's feast is absolutely no different. And this time, it seems that Lord Clegborne has some sort of ace up his sleeve somehow. You're not really sure what, but it has something to do with this feast, something to do with whatever it is that the Adventurers Guild could potentially help with. So, making your way over to the estate of Lord Clegborne, you do find that along the large cobblestone street that comes up to the gates of this walled section of the city, there's a lot of traffic coming in and out. It looks like there are preparations being taking place. It looks like there's lots of carts full of food and drinks and stuff making their way through this right now not super heavily guarded gate. And checking in with the guard at the front gate, he does direct you towards a small side door on the mansion, which is just up a long white gravel drive. It's approaching the mansion. This little door is off to your right, and it looks like that's where most of the food is being taken. Apparently, this is where the head cook for Lord Clegborne's estate is to be found. And working your way up there, along with a lot of carts of food and drink and other stuff, you find yourself going into a series of hallways, which then lead you to some storerooms, and eventually a very slight young man who he sees you, recognizes that you are wearing each of you is wearing a small insignia of the Adventurers Guild, and ushers you into the main kitchen to meet with the head chef. What would you like to do?
Well, at this point, I've just been trying to keep my head down, given the altercations I was involved in last time and how that all went down, just in case. So
Troublemaker.
A little bit.
I'm just kind of hanging near the back of our little group.
All right, great. So,
I push.
oh yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say I pushed myself to the front. Is there any is there any like good looking food around that I could grab?
Yeah, there are a few nice dishes being prepared. There's actually this one, it looks like a stack almost of cinnamon roll type things that are all arranged almost like in the shape of a Christmas tree. Somebody is currently up on a stool, and they're kind of dusting powdered sugar over the entire thing. It looks delicious. Right next to that, there are some other baked goods. There's some small cakes and some ramekins full of what looks like might be some sort of like pudding or something like that.
I think I grab a small cake and just start eating it like I'm supposed to be in here.
All right, so yeah, as you do this, the little guy who came to meet you, you realize that this is he's a guy named Teddy. He's one of the assistants to the head chef, and one of the people who you were actually supposed to come to meet. He just gives you this really sour look, but he's like, well, what the hell am I going to do? He's eating it already, so yeah. Jenny, what did you want to do?
I'm going to apologize for my friend here. I'm going to say, hey, we're here to help with the feast. What did you want us to do?
Well, I really can't say. I'm sorry. I'm just the assistant, but I'll take you to Oswald, the head chef. He'll be able to tell you exactly what's going on. But it sounds very dangerous. I'm not surprised they got someone in from the Adventures Guild to come. This whole Clegborne Vexler situation. Oh, it's terrible. Every single year they're doing something worse and worse and worse and worse. This year I just don't know how I'm going to cope. Oh my God. And he just keeps prattling on like this as he leads you through the kitchens, and it seems that these kitchens are very large. There's actually 3 main rooms, and you guys came through a hallway between the first one and the second one. The first one is a large area where it looks like there are lots of like stoves and ovens and such like that. The next area is a sort of prep room, which is like the one in the center. It's got lots of tables for staging and stuff. And then the last room is where they have lots of sinks and cleaning equipment and, less of the cooking stuff and more of just like the getting stuff together type stuff. There are big tall racks of, dishes and that type of thing. And he leads you through. He leads you from that initial room through the middle, where you grab a small cake, and into the last room where you can see that there's this big rotund guy wearing a really tall white hat. And he is yelling at this kid who is washing dishes in this really just rough accent, and you can barely understand what he's saying at first, but then you realize, he's speaking in somebody else's language or dialect or whatever, and as soon as he sees you, he turns around and he's like, "Oh, hello." I'm sorry about that. My dishwasher he's a complete asshole. But what can I do for you? You're from the Adventurers Guild, right?
Yes.
We are.
Perfect. Well, I'm so glad you're here. The Harvest Feast, as you know, is tomorrow. And, of course, Lord Clegborne, Lord Vexler, they're at each other again. But this time, it seems that one of Lord Clegborne's assistants found something that will be the perfect centerpiece. But we need your help to acquire it, I suppose? Do you think that's something you could do? I mean, you seem to be fairly capable folks.
I kind of poked my head out from behind these two, where I've been sort of keeping low profile. I'm just going, yes. Is this go and bring back, or go kill and bring back?
Well, that's a very good question. Let me come with me. There's something I need to show you. And he leads you from the last room through another hallway, and this hallway actually extends, it seems like it extends along the entire length of this huge mansion, and it seems like it's sort of below the rest of like where most people would be. This is like all of the servants' quarters, the kitchens, everything is at ground level, and then the rest is on the floor above that. And as he leads you through where the servants' quarters are on the east wing of this huge manor, you see that there are lots of small rooms. They're very well kept, very clean, but fairly humble. Some of them even almost look like the cell that you might see in a like a cloister or something. Just there's a little cot, there's a little desk. These are very simple servants' quarters. And as he leads you back through all these quarters, through a few more hallways and such, it starts to get dimmer and hotter. And then he leads you to what seems like the very end, the last wall before you would just essentially get outside, and turns a corner, and you can see that there is a staircase spiraling way down into the dark. And he says, "Please, follow me." And he starts going down the stairs, and given that he's just really fat, he starts panting almost immediately. But he's just like, "Oh, please, come with me, come on." And you guys start working your way down this stairway, and as you go down farther and farther, it extends maybe 100 feet below ground, and it just gets hotter and hotter to the point where it's just oppressive, and you're just drenched in sweat. This huge chef ahead of you, his tall hat is starting to kind of like sag as it's absorbing some of the sweat from the top of his head. You can see he's got these big pit stains, and once he gets down to the bottom, he leans forward onto his and just like, "Oh, sorry, whew. Oh, it's been a while. Sorry, I don't come down here very often, but, oh my, sorry. Anyway, yes, okay, so we have some things that are going on down here. And, oh my, sorry, heartburn.
Take your time.
Yes, yes, okay. So, we're doing some unconventional things for the harvest feast today, and, Lord Clegborne has decided that he wants to completely one-up Lord Vexler, and to do that, he needs to summon some sort of creature that you would never see on this plane of existence.
Oh.
I just in the back, being like familiar with Matt, I just immediately go, "Oh dear Bahamut, what is he doing?"
Summon is an interesting choice of words. What sort of creature are we talking about here?
I honestly don't know. I'm not one of those weird magic-y folks. I don't have anything to do with that. I've never used a spell in my life. When I was a child, I thought that all that talk of spells and magic was just a bunch of bullshit that my parents were feeding me. But, apparently it's a real thing, at least according to Lord Clegborne, so... What? Oh, sorry. Anyway, yes. So, I was told that one of you might have some sort of abilities that might be able to aid in the ritual or whatever whatever you do with the magic. I don't know. You boil some eye of newt.
My area of expertise.
Oh, good. I'm so glad we didn't get the wrong group. Last year we got the wrong group, and they completely screwed up the entire thing. Anyway, so Teddy will be able to tell you more of the details. I'm gonna go pass out on the stairs.
Oh, all right.
So at this point, Teddy is he comes down the stairs behind you, and he is also he's just drenched in sweat, and it looks like he's kind of a man of leisure or something. He's an assistant. He's used to writing things down. He's not used to going up and down stairs and all this bullshit. But you can see that under one arm, and you're not sure when he grabbed it, but under one arm he has sort of a roll, like a almost like a rolled up satchel or something like that. And it has a few little implements poking out of this thing, and he's like, "All right, come with me. Yes, down this way, the third hallway on the left." And he just starts walking off into the dark, and just doesn't even wait for you guys. He's just like going down a hallway, which is almost completely pitch black. You see as he walks away that a very slight light emanates from one of the items that's poking out of this little rolled up case that he has. And it looks like that's probably how he's able to see down here.
As we're walking, I kind of tap these two on the shoulder that are like, I'm still walking behind them, and quick description of me, female silver dragonborn, very wizard, scholarly, that type of deal. But I kind of look at you both and I'm like, this got really, really weird, really quick. I don't know if I'm okay with us summoning demons under this guy's kitchen.
I put my arm around you and I'm like, don't worry, demons, they're easy. There's like people blow it way out of proportion.
Well, he didn't say it was a demon exactly. He just said it wasn't from this plane of existence. Could be anything.
All right, but I'm just throwing it out there. This got much more complicated than we anticipated very quickly.
Oh, we are not being paid enough for this. I agree with you there.
The last time I got involved with these two, it resulted in the third story of a brothel being burned down. Lots of things. I'm just saying, let's be wary.
Sounds like fun. I want to hear that story later.
It's a story.
All right, so what are you guys doing? You just gonna follow along?
Well, I have dark vision, so I can assumably see down this tunnel without the need of a light spell.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and follow.
All right, cool. So following along, he just kind of like walks ahead of you guys, and you can see that he turns a corner off to the left, and as he does this, you hear him like as you're approaching, you can hear him like unrolling whatever that little roll was onto the floor in some sort of chamber down there, and walking up there, you can like turning the corner, you can see that now that he's unrolled it, this object is now casting more light. It's kind of like a bright white light, and it's just a rod. And it looks like the entire point of this rod is to just cast some light. And he grabs it and just kind of like sticks it onto the floor so that it stands up vertically, casting more light into the room. And looking at this room, it looks like almost like an abandoned cellar or something. There are some crates off in one corner. There's a ruined barrel off in the other. The floor is actually just dirt. It's not made of rock or anything like that. It's just dirt. And Teddy is actually he's fiddling with a bunch of the various accoutrements that he has in this rolled up satchel-y type thing. And he's like, "Oh, please, come in. I need you all here to aid in this whatever this is." So I have this little instructional booklet that I was given, and so what it says is that I need to make a summoning circle. Do any of you know what that is? Have you ever made a summoning circle before?
Oh, sure. With my arcana, do I recognize any of the implements or?
You would recognize a few of them. There are various implement. There's like a small knife. There are a couple of what look like wands of some sort that you can't really be sure. There are several different small bottles, each containing a different substance. One of them looks like it contains maybe salt. Another one has little things that look like pebbles almost. One of them has some sort of greenish powder in it. There's just all kinds of weird little objects and doodads. There's something that looks like maybe like a ring with a glass eyeball on the end. It's just like lots of weird shit. And it's all just kind of arrayed out there, and he's like picking through and looking at this little booklet that he has. And this booklet it's it's only like, you know, yay big, and it's you know, like 30 pages thick or something, and he's flipping through it and looking down at the various objects, and he's like setting some aside, and he's like, all right, so I need can one of you assist me here? I just need I need come here. I need you to just help me with this little thing. And he starts like drawing symbols on the floor just with his finger in the dirt, and he's like making a circle around himself, and then he like gets up and starts like drawing symbols, and he's like trying to copy stuff, and he occasionally like brushes some away and redraws a symbol. Do you guys want to assist him at all?
Yeah, I'm already kind of forming this idea that I'm kind of an arrogant jerk, so I walk up and be like, let the professionals handle this. I take the book from them and flip through it. Do I learn anything meaningful from it, or?
So, looking at this little booklet and flipping through, do an Arcana check.
Alrighty, my Arcana. Oh, I rolled a 7, so +4. That's 11.
You definitely get the impression that there's some really weird shit in this little booklet that he has. Some of it, like, you're pretty familiar with, and about half of it seems to be completely wrong. But then there's some other stuff in there that you don't actually recognize, but it looks like it could potentially work. You're just not really sure.
I'm definitely not really versed in what's going on here, but I am a proficient match user, so I will, and apparently we're in for this, so I would like to assist him in attempting to decipher what's ever going on in the book.
Okay. Yeah, then do an Arcana check, this time with advantage. You.
Me or
Doug. You can go ahead and do that. Since you're like the second person looking, and he's kind of helping you out as you sort of look over his shoulder.
Can I ask Teddy where he got this ritual from exactly? It looks a bit like a make-your-own demon kit that you might give to a small child.
It's not a make-your-own demon kit. It's just an instructional booklet on how to make summoning circles so that you can, summon extraplanar activities and objects and creatures and such. It's nothing demonic. I don't think. I mean, I'm not really a magic user. I'm not some sort of mage or wizard or warlock or whatever they call them these days. I don't know. I mean,
On that note, 23.
What?
Yeah, so looking through this book and sort of both of you guys deciphering things, you get the impression, oh yeah, this is essentially a little instructional booklet written by somebody on how to make a summoning circle, to drag some sort of entity from another plane onto this one. And some of the information appears to be completely wrong. It looks like it was written by somebody who had a very limited knowledge and had to piece some things together, but then they got a lot of it right, just maybe through sheer luck. You can't really tell.
Can we tell if they got the important bits right?
It looks like it. It looks like they probably did.
Okay.
You can't really be certain, but it looks like, yeah.
I have to say, I didn't think we'll be doing the summoning actually underneath your kitchen.
well, where else are we going to do this summoning? I mean, we need to get it. We need to get it onto this plane. Then we need to, do something to kill it. And then once it's dead, we just bring it up to the kitchen and we cook it. And then we'll be the pride of the Harvest Festival. It'll be amazing. Now, please help me.
Just kind of pipe out and I'm like, what in the world are you attempting to summon that would be edible?
Just don't worry about it. All the instructions are right here. We'll just follow all these instructions, and then we'll have it. Then you guys can just stab it in the neck or whatever it is that you adventurers do, and then we'll just bring it up to the kitchen. Is that so hard?
I'm visibly face palming at this point. Oh dear God. Oh dear Bahamut, he's gonna kill us all.
This is gonna be awesome or terrible.
There seems to be a few mistakes in this book. Let's say it. Do you think we can fill in the gaps with our combined arcade knowledge?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can give it a shot.
Uh,
I'm just like, if we're set on doing this, let's at least make sure we don't die in the attempt. And I set upon helping you try to fix whatever's wrong with there. You apparently know more about this stuff than I do, so.
Okay. So.
I'm going.
Oh yeah. What do you want to do?
I'm going to do a little song. I'm going to inspire Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
To do his thing, his magical thing.
Oh, nice.
All right.
That's an extra D8.
All right, sweet.
Oh, wow.
So, Justin, do an Arcana check, this time with advantage, and then whatever the higher one is, you can add a D8 if you want to.
Oh, okay. So that's roll 2 and take the higher?
Yeah.
20.
And then if you want to, you can add a D8 to that. Or was that a natural 20?
That's a natural 20.
Oh, well then. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, so over the next few minutes, you actually like get out a little pencil and you like scratch some stuff out and put some stuff in the margins and go through this entire book, and it takes you probably like a good half hour to actually go through this thing, check your work, and go back. But you do manage to cross some stuff off and then get it to a usable state. Or at least it looks like it's a usable state. It still seems kind of fucky, but it seems like it'll probably work in some way. All right, so what do you want to do?
Can I at least tell Teddy to go back up to the kitchen? Just get him out of the line of fire, as it were.
Why should I go back to the? You're just going to summon this thing. I mean, I'm the one with the booklet. I want to stay down here. I want to stay down. I want to see what happens. I need to verify that you're going to stab this thing in the neck or whatever it is you adventurers do. I mean, someone has to be down here. Someone responsible. I can't just leave a bunch of random people, making their way around underneath this manor.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. If we do stab it in the neck, you will know. If we don't stab it in the neck, you will probably find out very quickly. And we're probably going to be slinging around spells, swinging swords and the like. You may not want to be nearby when we do this. That's all I'm saying.
Do a persuasion check.
Okay. Persuasion. Ha ha ha! 26.
Yeah, so he... the thought of like swords swinging around and spells being flung about seems to have this sort of chilling effect on Teddy, and he's like, "Oh, I see. Well, yes, this seemed like a pretty good point. I'll just make my way back to the stairway, and you do what you adventurers do. Goodbye." And he just kind of like books it out of the chamber. So what do you want to do? What's going on? What's happening?
All right, let's get cracking. Let's start drawing them circles.
All right. So I need to do one more Arcana check. Once again with advantage, since you've sort of figured out all of how this is supposed to work. Now it's just down to actually laying out the summoning circle and figuring out exactly what is going to be happening over the next few minutes as you do this ritual.
All right.
I would like it for the record. I am casting Mage Armor.
Okay.
Preemptively, and I am also readying a spell so that if whatever pops out of whatever he's about to do looks angry, it's going to get a face full of, well, acid, most likely.
So was that Bard inspiration only for one roll?
Yeah, so
okay.
You can use it whenever you want, really. So if you didn't use it before, you could use it now.
Yep.
Okay, I'll use it now just to give me a little boost on it. Okay, I rolled a 10 plus 4, then plus my 4, so 18.
Yeah, so over the next the next couple of minutes, you start completing a lot of the like summoning circle, drawing it in the ground. You lay out there are there's the bottle of salt. You pour that in a circle around the thing, and you draw various symbols in the dirt, and there are various like pieces of like steel rods that you put in various positions according to whatever the spell book says. It's kind of a long process of getting everything right for this summoning circle, and there are a couple times where you have to like scratch some stuff out and redraw it, but then you eventually do manage to come up with what looks like a pretty functional summoning circle in the basement of this large manor. And standing there for a second, you can't help but admire your handiwork, because you haven't necessarily done this specific thing before, but it does look pretty freaking cool.
I would like to point out that this is how every horror movie and end of the world novel begins.
So over the next hour or so, it's a very long ritual to actually get this specific spell to work correctly. But as you do it, you go through all. There are verbal components. There are hand motions you have to do. You end up having to burn various substances at various points on this summoning circle over various symbols. There are incantations that you have to make at specific times, and you go through this. And who all is going to be contributing to this sort of ritual? Is there anything that you guys want to be doing to try and assist Justin in sort of getting this summoning circle to actually work?
I could. I'm not trained in Arcana. I have a +1. I don't know how useful that would be. I could play you a little song again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you can if you want to.
Okay, I will do that.
All right, sweet. Roll me a d20 and add your spellcasting ability modifier.
Okay. Oh, that would be a 5.
Okay. And Douglas, what are you doing?
Okay, I want to help if I can. So this is kind of one thing. So I guess DM discretion. I'd like to help him, but I also want to keep a spell readied because I'm not. Can I help him and then back off and have that readied spell for whatever pops out of whatever's about to happen?
I would say do an Arcana check to see if you can like do this within the confines of getting this thing working and then getting whatever spell you want working.
21.
Yeah, you do actually manage to assist as much as you are able to over a few minutes until you have to start readying your spell. What spell are you readying? And what is going to be the trigger for releasing that spell?
Okay, I'll be readying Melf's Acid Arrow.
All right.
And the trigger will be... Is it not whatever comes out of the portal, but whatever happens, if any aggressive... If anything shows up that is obviously, unapologetically aggressive, i.e. looks like it's about to eat us, it's going to get Acid Arrow to the face.
Okay, so as soon as something pops up, if it looks aggressive, bam.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to be clear on that. All right, and finally, Justin, is there anything that you want to do over the course of following the little incantation instructions in this booklet? Is there anything that you want to do for yourself? You wouldn't be able to do any sort of concentration spell because what you're doing is essentially a concentration spell, but is there any sort of thing that you want to have like queued up or whatever?
Well, I'd say I'm impulsive and I rush, so I'm getting really in the zone doing this, so that's all I'm really focusing on, and I'm kind of in the back of my mind saying Teddy doesn't need the book back after this, so I'm just gonna like slip it into my pack as like I want to look into this a little more.
All right, great. So then in that case, this is sort of like a 3-part incantation where you have to essentially get the different parts of the summoning circle working, and then that's what will eventually summon whatever creature this ends up being. So I want you to do 3 Arcana checks, and just let me know what the results are.
Okay, you saying that's me?
Yes,
3?
that's you.
Okay. So first Arcana check.
And the first one, do it with advantage because Doug was helping you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Natural 20.
Ooh.
Awesome.
Nice.
Perfect.
Oh, rolling
So
tonight.
as you complete the first section of the incantation, there are 3 rings to this summoning circle. The outer one is a ring of salt that you've made in the dirt, and the second one in is a ring of little steel rods that you've placed around the circle, and the last one is just drawn in the dirt. And as this section of the incantation is completed, all of the small symbols that you've drawn between the first ring and the second ring light up with various colors, sort of like glowing just in the air above the symbols. And the ring of salt actually, there's like a puff of smoke from the entire thing, and it starts to glow a dull bluish color. Now, do another Arcana check for the second section.
All right.
And add your spellcasting ability modifier.
Yes. Oh, what is... So I have... So I've got my Arcana.
Yeah.
That's a +4.
Check the... yeah, I guess you could do Arcana, or check your the top of your spell sheet. That'll tell you what your ability modifier is.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I was a little... Which page is that? Spell. Oh, it's blank. Oh, okay. Charisma.
Okay, so
that
then,
would be...
yeah, your
same,
Arcana, Arcana or your Charisma. But yeah, okay, so +4. So what was the total?
I forgot what I rolled. I'll roll again.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not worried about
it. Rolled a 5.
If you haven't used that inspiration yet. Oh wait, you did use it. Never
I
mind.
did use it, so I got a 9.
All right. So as you complete the second portion of the incantation, the second ring, the one with the steel rods, the steel rods actually start to glow just a little bit, and you can smell a little bit of burning from that area of the room just as they're sort of burning into the dirt, but nothing else really happens. And as you flip back through that little book, you realize that you actually skipped a critical step, which was to actually place a droplet of your own blood in the center of the ring.
It's fine.
So as you go and you prick your finger and drip some blood into the center of that ring, it hits the dirt, and as soon as it does, there's this blinding flash, and all of the short steel rods that you've placed in this ring light up to almost white hot, and then they melt and form. They sort of meld together and form their own perfectly circular ring, which is now glowing a white hot. Okay, and do one final Arcana check.
All right, here we go. Aye.
Oh no.
Let's see if the camera picks it up.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
All right. So I need you to do a Constitution saving throw.
Alrighty. Come on, red dice. Give me a second chance. So 14, so that'd be plus my con mod. So +2, 16.
All right. So as this as you try to illuminate the final ring of this summoning circle, you feel this stabbing pain go all the way through the core, like, of your torso, and you just double over in pain, and you realize that as your eyes sort of focus again, there is this sort of like spectral hand that is reaching out of the center of the circle, and it's like trying to pull on your insides, pull you into the circle, and you manage to actually like resist it, but it does sort of like pull at your clothes a little bit too, and you just barely manage to not fall into the circle yourself. Do another Arcana check, this time with advantage, since you sort of got an idea of what was going to happen if you fucked this up.
Woo.
That looked edible to anyone.
Rolled a 13. Lucky 13.
Plus
4.
Oh, okay.
17. Yeah, 17.
All right. So as the final stage of the incantation is completed, the entire inner ring, which is just a circle that you've traced in the dirt, actually starts filling up with blood, which just seeps out of the dirt, and this blood sort of starts to overflow this ring and then flow into the symbols that are between this ring and the second ring in. And as soon as these symbols are filled up, the entire surface of this ring, this entire summoning circle, flashes into a bright white, and all of the symbols sort of lift off the ground at multiple levels. Some of them start spinning in the air, and it seems like the entire the dirt floor below has just become completely smooth again, like it was never disturbed before. The rings actually start orbiting each other, going in and out, and the dirt in the middle of the where the circles were on the ground starts to sort of fall in and crack away. And as it all starts to crack away, you can see that there's just blackness down there, and then you hear a sort of rushing as air starts to shoot up through this hole, and it's almost like there's you know, like almost like standing in front of an air conditioner that's just roaring at you, except hot air is blowing up through. And as this hot air is blowing up through, you can see that the darkness actually raises up above the surface of the hole, almost as if it's its own mass, and it starts to undulate and sort of burble, almost as if it has bubbles of darkness that are popping on the surface, except it's just completely black. And as this happens, it sort of expands outward, and you can see that there's some sort of limb in there that extends out, and another one, and behind these limbs, you can see that there are these, it's almost like it's dripping darkness. There's this skeletal wing that extends out on one side and another on that side. Up from between the two arms, this head comes up and snakes out on a long neck. And as this happens, the blackness sort of fades away. It drips back down onto the ground and fades into the dirt. And standing there in these undulating rings, there is this creature that has just glistening black skin, with a long neck, a long hooked beak on the end of its like its snout, and it's got 4 legs. That look similar to bird legs. It's almost like if it was like maybe a griffin type of object or creature, except all 4 legs look like the feet of a bird with scales that extend all the way up and then just fade into this kind of greasy surface on the body. The wings on its back start to slowly grow these black feathers. And then suddenly the front arms start to go back into the body and get absorbed. And from where those arms were, it starts to sprout more of these black feathers. And it starts to grow a tail of feathers as well that extend outward. All of them black, all of them looking kind of greasy and covered in slime almost. And as it stands up, it folds its wings in, looks around at all of you. And that's where we're going to take a break.
Wow.
All right, and we are back. Back to our little game of D&D. But before we get right back into the game, we're just going to have a little bit of discussion. I just wanted to get the discussion started with a simple question. It's a little bit like an interviewee type question, but I think it's this type of question has generated some pretty good discussion from other groups as well. So I figure I'll ask you guys as well. That question being, what are some challenges that you've faced in your career, whether it's getting into game development, being in game development, or trying to stay in game development, and how did you overcome those? And is there something that you could recommend to somebody else who's going through some similar challenge? And if nobody has anything immediately, I can chime in.
Yeah, I guess I kind of have something.
Yeah, sure.
Like I've been kind of on the in the last few years getting a little disillusioned with the game industry, and doing freelance. Like I'm kind of light freelancing right now, and living off savings too. And it's just kind of been a little bit of a break to regroup and get back into things. But yeah, because I guess like one of the things is like when you first get in, it's amazing, it's your dream. But then after a while, especially if you're not always like not working on the most amazing of games or working on something that gets canceled. Yeah, because like my first job was Warhammer Online, which at the time like so it wasn't launched yet, and I really liked the Warhammer like lore and universe and the art style, so that was amazing. And I was younger, so that was about 10 years ago. I was young. I would overwork. I would stay super late, and so like the game launched, and then we started things started having some trouble, and then we were working on a big expansion, which they started doing crunch. Until then, there wasn't really crunch. Like I was actually hourly, so they dissuaded crunch because they had, because then I would get overtime. So did crunch, got laid off, moved to Boston to work on a game that an MMO that ended up getting canceled. And I left and came to Texas and worked on MMOs for kids, which it was kind of fun, but it was like nobody's ever heard of this game. And then we had a lot of bad crunch, and the game we launched I don't think it had the player base that they were expecting, and I kind of felt that layoffs were coming, so I left there. I went to a mobile company, so jumping around, bouncing around, and so yeah, I guess that's something like for people who are new to the industry. It's not always going to be like super awesome. So sometimes you just gotta work through it. Or if you can save money, sometimes saving that money aside it will give you you can have it as a little buffer to just say like I'm gonna take time off and work on my own stuff, or maybe like I'm trying freelancing. It's turning out a little harder than I expected. So I'm actually looking probably to get back into a studio after the new year.
Yeah, I found in my own experience that freelancing was difficult, and this was actually like if you guys didn't have anything that you were going to mention, I was going to mention freelancing as well. And I found that I really thrive in a team environment as opposed to just working independently. Like you, I was getting a little bit disillusioned, and I found that once I was able to get back into a team environment, I was a lot more happy with the work that I was doing. And the work that I was doing when I was freelancing, to sort of like cope with not being in a team, not having other people to bounce ideas off of, I had to specifically schedule my time like I was working in an office and stuff like that to sort of angle myself so that I didn't have that weird overbearing feeling of being like, oh, I can do anything, but I can also do nothing because I have all the time in the world, but suddenly I have no time. So deeply scheduling every second of every day turned out to be a really good mechanism for me to get through that type of challenge for myself. Jenny, Doug, do you guys have any sort of challenges that you've had to work through that like you might be able to provide some advice on?
Actually, I was gonna say the same thing as Justin, like getting kind of disillusioned with the game industry. I hate to harp on the same point, but it's like the only thing that's coming to mind right now. It's like kind of currently weighing on me because like right now I'm actually not working in the game industry. What happened was 2 studios in a row went bankrupt. Project after project got canceled, and it was not a good time. So a company that a friend works at, not a game company, like a tech company, not a game company, they were like, "Hey, we have an opening if you want to come work for us." And I was like, "Okay," because I needed a job real bad. But the thing is, I kind of miss the energy of working in games, even though I know it's not the most stable industry.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, like I want people to know that it's okay to leave the industry if you want to. Right now, I'm still making games like on my own, just as like a hobbyist thing. I'm actually learning to code like right now.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's okay if you need to take a break, if you need to like step back, if you decide it's not for you, that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
certain jobs are just not for certain people, and that's okay. And you don't even have to love working in the game industry or whatever.
Yeah.
I certainly view my job as it's a job. I enjoy the job,
Yes.
but if I wasn't getting paid for it, I would not be doing the same thing. That's for damn sure. Just because
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. It takes a lot out of you. So yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. Doug, what about you? Is there some sort of challenge or something that you've faced? I know that you come from like a military background and stuff, so I'm sure that there's stuff from that you can contribute as well.
Yeah, I had 2 points if that's okay, and one of them is addressing on that. But the first one is really for people trying to get in industry. A lot of people put a lot of stigma on lower positions, like like the really low-level 3D jobs where you're really cleaning up other people's work, the QA, but those are not positions to view as beneath you because and anyone who's been in the industry for any amount of time will tell you like those low-level positions or what are perceived externally as low-level positions are absolutely vital to any game shipping, to any company, continuing to thrive. Like, as bug-ridden as games are today without, those QA testers, oh my God, imagine as complex as games are today. The low-level entries, that's how you cut your teeth. Everybody, there's nobody who came into the industry who was just immediately John Romero or Tim Sweeney or any of the other big names. They all went through their trials and tribulations.
Yeah, they all started somewhere, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And the other is definitely sometimes you have to leave the industry or pursuing the industry for reasons that are beyond your control or not. In my instance, I was in my third year of game art and design degree, and I spent 7 years in the U.S. Marines Reserves, and my third year of I was activated for Afghanistan. So for the next year, completely cut off from learning game development and keeping up with it. And for anyone who's in the industry, then a year is a really long time, especially at a time when substance was becoming a thing. UE4 had just launched, so all these big changes going on in the industry. Coming back to that was difficult, but it's a matter of if you want it, it's possible to stick to it and overcome all the things that you've missed, all the changes that happen. Because that's what I seriously considered just going off on another path, but came back, stuck with it, and ended up getting into the industry. And it's been a hell of a ride, but it's one of those things that goes to show. And I know I've been following a lot on Twitter the last week. There's been tons of stories of people who overcame so many obstacles to get into the industry, and it's not an easy path, but if you want it, you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely say that just from my own personal experience, getting into the game industry was incredibly difficult for me. And,
Yeah.
from the time that I started doing 3D, it took me, oh man, like, it was another almost a decade until I actually was able to get a job doing 3D, just simply because I wasn't at the level that I needed to be at. And it just took incredible perseverance and just like continually trying and trying and trying and trying to make myself better, be a better artist, be a better communicator, be more attractive in various ways to companies who are hiring. And that sometimes takes years for people, so you do have to kind of stick with it if it's something that you feel is the right career path for you.
Yeah, I don't want to make it too long, but that's kind of I went to Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale from I think 2000 to 2004, and I graduated, and nobody was. The funny thing was I had to make a demo reel, and this was a demo reel on VHS, and I was sending VHS tapes to studios, and they probably just was like, what do we do with this? So like no jobs. I got really discouraged. I kind of like I almost gave up, and I think it was like 2 years where I was just doing IT jobs and stuff, and then I finally was just like, a year from now, I'm gonna have a job, and like just the amount of work and doubling down was like I thought I was working hard. That was hard. Like sometimes I see people on forums like saying like, oh, it's so hard. And it's like, look, you just gotta put your nose to the grindstone, and it's going to, what you thought you've been doing so far wasn't hard. You're like, this is going to be like, wow, like I didn't go to movies, I didn't go out with friends. Mm-hmm. I'd always be like, well, I got to work on my portfolio, because working 40 hours a week doing IT, I would come home and be like, I got to work. And so yeah, like I think that actually that was the big motivation, was setting a goal. And I think it was like 11 months later I got that job at Mythic, and just went on from there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems to be a really common story between with all my friends, all my colleagues and such, is that at some point you just had to stop having a life and put all of your energy into just becoming good at whatever it is you're trying to do. And, that's not necessarily sustainable, but as far as being able to get to the right level of skill for whatever your job is, whether you're doing programming or 3D or, concept art or design work or whatever, you're not going to be able to, get some sort of work unless you're able to actually focus on it for a long time, get really good, and then start applying for jobs. So that seems like that seems like something that people keep kind of harping on, but at the same time, it's really necessary to keep mentioning it, because it's something that eventually almost everyone has to go through, at least from my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except D&D. Never give up D&D.
Well,
Never.
And speaking of D&D, now that we've had some
that's
nice,
a good segue.
Yeah, thank you. I'm proud of that. Less proud now that I'm completely just talking about it. Anyway, on the topic of D&D, that's one of the main reasons we're here. So let's get back into things. Let's get back into the basement of Lord Clegborne's estate, his manor. Let's get back to that summoning circle. Let's get back to this creature covered in greasy black feathers, which has been summoned forth from this possibly alternate dimension or plane of existence. It pierced the veil between realities and has come into existence directly in front of you in this dark, dank cellar. As it stands there, its front legs sort of shrinking back into its abdomen and just sprouting these greasy feathers all over its body. It looks at you, its neck on this sort of serpentine, its head on the end of the serpentine neck, coated in the almost scale-like feathers that sort of transition into ones that are greasy and almost dripping like some sort of sweaty-looking, I don't know, substance. And it just turns its head, rotating, looking at you. The round eyes on either side of its head alternating to look at each of you in succession. And then it just lets out an ear-piercing shriek, just a... and just barges towards the door, trying to push past you guys. All right, great. So what do you have to do? A range spell attack?
Yeah, once I believe.
Let me just take a look at Melf's acid arrow.
Yeah, I have to make a ranged spell attack against the target.
Okay, cool. So yeah, go ahead and do that.
Alright, spell attack modifier. Okay. Oh, that's not good. That's gonna be 12.
So as you unleash this arcane energy from your hand, it sort of twists through the air, and this creature sees this flash of energy and instinctively dodges out of the way as it tries to push past you and go out the door. What do you want to do?
What
are you guys doing?
Flaming sphere. I'm conjuring. I'm just shouting out to stop it and conjuring a. If I have the time before I guess initiative starts, I want to conjure a flaming sphere in front of the door.
Okay, how long does flaming sphere take?
I do believe it's instantaneous, but let me double check that. I have my spellbook here.
Okay, Justin, what do you want to do?
I summon my packed blade, a glaive.
All right, sweet. And Jenny, what are you doing?
So I'm gonna guess that this guy doesn't count as a humanoid. So let me see.
No, it does
not. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna cast Fairy Fire on him.
Okay. Cool. Flaming sphere. Flaming sphere takes one action. Okay, so that's like 6 seconds more or less.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So as you cast Fairy Fire on this thing, that makes it essentially light up around the edges so that you guys can see it, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And then we get advantage on our attacks against it.
Awesome. Perfect. Cool.
Nice.
So as it just kind of like barges through the door, it turns off to its right and starts running up towards the staircase where you guys came down about an hour before. And it just starts...
So the circle didn't contain it.
It almost starts just like galloping, using its wings almost like arms as it gallops down the hall, sort of like half gliding, half running. It just goes off into the darkness. And you can hear it start scrabbling up the stairs.
Oh no, the cakes!
Yeah, I'm running after it and just trying to get that flaming sphere, like basically summoned in front of it. Because if it ends its turn anywhere within 5 feet, it's gonna hurt. And also, it's a giant sphere of fire. So. Okay,
cool. Yeah. So as it runs up towards the staircase, you're able to cast this flaming sphere right in front of it. It just bashes through the thing. Roll damage for that.
Yeah, okay. It needs to make a dex save throw.
It is not going to make it. You literally cast it right in front of it, and it would fill up the entire doorway. Okay. So it doesn't even have a chance to.
Okay, that's 7 fire damage.
All right, cool. So 7 damage.
So... Are we technically in combat now? Because I can move it as a bonus action, but that's a bonus action.
Yeah, I'm going to say, now that you guys have all had an opportunity to get some stuff done, let's roll initiative for this.
Awesome.
All right, and that's going to be...
Alright, got it. Oh, yes. My dice are not betraying me like they did last game.
Okay, so, what do we got? Jenny.
11.
Alrighty. So, what is your dexterity modifier?
It's a +2.
Ooh. Interesting. Can I get you to roll a d20 for me?
Sure. I want a different d20. It's a 6.
6. Okay, cool. So, and Justin.
I rolled a 4.
4. All right, and
I was
Douglas.
I was expecting the circle to hold it.
Yeah,
I'm just there like, what?
All right, and Douglas, what was yours?
Let's see. That's 19 plus.
Oh, yep.
1, so 20.
Nice.
Very nice. Alrighty, so that is going to put you at the very top of the initiative order. So this thing is trying its best to run, sort of scrabbling up this spiral staircase. And it's about 30 feet ahead of you now. You guys are sort of like chasing right after it.
So what I think I'm going to do is, since this is concentration, I can maintain it, but make another spell attack. So I do believe I'm going to make.
Yeah, you can move it if you want to. To make
that's
another
a bonus action.
I don't know that you can actually cast another spell while you're concentrating on one.
I think it's
I don't
anything
think
that's
you
not
can.
concentration, but I don't
Yeah.
usually play spellcasters, so I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think if you're maintaining concentration on a spell, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure if you're maintaining concentration, you're not able to cast another spell.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
Okay, I'll just go with that for brevity's sake.
Alrighty.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to, as a bonus action, I can move it up to 30 feet, so I am going to move it in front of this creature again.
Okay, cool. And it has to make a dexterity saving throw, is that correct?
If it ends its turn within 5 feet of the sphere.
Okay.
If I ram the sphere into a creature, it must make the saving throw against it again, and the sphere stops moving this turn. So, yeah, let's go ahead and just say I ram the sphere into the creature again.
Okay, well, it rolled an 11.
Okay, my DC is 14, so he does not make
He
it.
does not make it, so roll damage.
An additional 7 fire.
Alrighty, cool.
Slam this flaming ball. So I just, like, Silver Turtle, I'm just like, oh shit, this goes bad. Like, it went as bad as I knew it was going to do. So I'm just like, hands in the air, I'm just like manipulating this fireball, just slamming it into this thing, like, from the fun of it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So as you slam into it, its whole body just sort of like lights up in flames, and this sort of actually like greenish smoke emanates from underneath a lot of its feathers. You can see that you singed most of the feathers on its body, and its sort of bird-like legs, a lot of the like scales actually get burnt off in some areas, exposing sort of purplish pink flesh underneath. That's going to take it to the creature's turn, and it is going to actually try to run farther up the stairs, getting away from this ball of flame and away from you guys. And it's going to try to use its flying speed to go up the stairs.
Oh no!
So let's see, that's going to be 60 feet. Okay.
Oh god, those kitchen staff are so dead.
Yeah. So it makes it out of sight up the stairs. You can hear it still scrabbling up there.
Oh no.
Jenny, you're up.
Oh boy.
So I looked up the rules in concentration. It says that it's only if you cast another spell that requires concentrating.
Oh.
So I think you could.
Okay, that's what I thought it was, but I
okay.
wasn't sure because I don't usually play spellcasters.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
me neither.
Sorry about that. I was mistaken.
Well, I'm gonna have to run after that guy. Try to.
Alrighty.
My run speed, I believe, is probably 35. Let me double check. 30 actually. I could do a dash and do 60.
Alrighty. Yeah, that would bring you partially up the stairs, and he'd be just getting out of your vision.
Okay, and then that would be my action. So I'm gonna also inspire Justin again.
All right, cool.
All right.
And speaking of which, Justin, it is now your turn. You just want to follow along with them?
So let me see. So moving 60 would get me within visible range?
Yeah, it'd get you right up next to Jenny.
Okay. And you can do a bonus action at any time in your order, or?
Yeah, really.
Okay, because I've got Misty Step,
Okay.
which will teleport me 30 feet. So I'll move 30, teleport 30, and then now that it's in my range.
Yeah, you'd be able to teleport to either right behind it or right in front of it.
Ooh, gotta stop it. Oh, I mean, moving 60, I could get in front of it?
So moving 60, you'd be able to get right up next to Jenny, and then Misty stepping.
No,
another...
yeah, I was saying I was moving 30, then Misty stepping, so I have an action that I can do.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah,
Misty
okay,
is a bonus.
Gotcha.
So now I'm close in range.
Yes.
I will give him my Eldritch Blast.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Go for it.
Nice.
Does Eldritch Blast automatically hit, or is it a spell attack? I don't.
Let me
recall. It's been a while since I used it.
Yeah.
I believe it's a spell attack.
I think
let me
it is
double check.
too. I just know that there are a few other.
It is it's basically like my warlock.
Yeah, ranged spell attack. On a hit, target takes 1d10 force damage, and there are 2 beams at 5th level. Yeah, cool. So it'd be an additional 1d10.
Okay, so this is where I'm not experienced. So roll to 17. Do I add my charisma to that?
Yes, since that is your spell attack modifier.
So 21.
21 definitely hits. Roll damage. So it's going to be 2d10.
And it says each d10 is a separate beam requiring separate rolls. So I guess I have a second attack.
I missed that. So yeah, you do a secondary attack for the other beam.
Ugh. Rolled 2.
So the second beam doesn't hit, but the first one does.
Okay. Well, no, I rolled that on the damage.
Oh, that was the damage. Okay, so then...
I figured I'd roll that damage and then roll the second one.
Gotcha.
Ugh. 7.
Doesn't sound good.
Yeah. So the second one just kind of arcs past it as it's running up the stairs.
But I can add the inspiration to that, which was a D4.
Yes.
Was it a D8?
D8.
Okay. Yeah, let's get the... Oh, man.
Aww.
Rolled a 1.
Yeah,
Not that inspiring.
Yeah, unfortunately, it still doesn't hit. Yeah, it just kind of like splashes into the wall and throws some sparks and energy off as this thing's just clawing its way up the stairs. All right, that's gonna bring it back to the top of the round. Doug, what are you doing?
So, Dragonborn may not have wings, but y'all about to see a flying Dragonborn up in this place. Seeing how fast this thing is moving, I drop concentration on the flaming sphere, so I just and let the embers disperse into the ether and cast fly on myself.
Awesome.
Giving myself a movement speed of 60 feet and basically go like Voldemorting flying case after this thing.
Awesome. Yes. So that'll actually bring you within visual range, going just past your 2 friends.
Is there anything I can cast as a bonus action? I don't think there's anything I have that I can cast as a bonus action. So yeah, that'll probably have to be my turn.
All right, cool. That's gonna bring it to the creature's turn, and it's gonna.
So yeah, just swoosh.
Yeah. It just like keeps clawing its way up the stairs. You guys can hear that it's actually getting fairly close to the top already with how fast this thing is moving. It's sort of like half running, half gliding, and you hear.
Actually. Sorry, I want to dash.
Okay.
So with my new movement speed, I want to dash.
Oh, then
so, I go flying up the tunnel, like straight up the tunnel, and get between this thing and the door.
Okay.
Probably not the smartest idea for the wizard.
So you do make it up, and you just you shoot right past it up the spiral staircase. You're still about 30 feet from getting up to where the doorway is, but you're now between it and the doorway.
I didn't take an attack of opportunity when I wished past it.
He probably would actually. So let me see here.
Okay. This might hurt. I guess mage armor. So
it rolled a 7. It's not gonna hit you.
Okay.
But as it is running up there, you can hear it just shrieking, just this like as it's clawing its way up. You can hear its claws kind of scrabbling against the walls and the steps, and it's just running as fast as it can towards you. And it actually it runs so fast that it's just trying to dash up there, and it runs right past you, Doug. So actually, you're gonna get an attack of opportunity as well.
With advantage.
Attacks of opportunities can be spells, right?
Yes, as long as it's like an action or less.
Yeah, and it's an action, so... Wait, did someone say with advantage?
Because I have Fairy Fire up.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, you do. Oh, awesome.
Yep.
So, I am going to attempt to hit this thing with an acid arrow in the face again.
Awesome. Go for it.
Oh, God. Okay, so
how
the first
long
roll
does
was 2,
Fairy Fire
the second
last?
roll was a nat
It
20.
is 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, cool. And you said, Doug, what was that?
First roll was a 2, but the advantage from Fairy Fire was a nat 20.
Ooh.
Awesome.
Yes.
So double all the dice for the damage.
All right, let's see how many does acid arrow get. 1 second.
So yeah, just roll and then double whatever the number is.
Yeah, MILF. There we go. Ooh, 4d4, and that's for 2 turns. Good lord.
Nice.
Wow.
So 17 base, so
Oh.
30.
34.
Yeah.
Yeah, 34
Wow.
damage. Awesome.
on this turn.
Alrighty, so...
Okay, and it'll take 2d4 at the end of its next turn.
Ooh.
Alright,
And
sweet.
you know what? I'm gonna. Can I go ahead and say I cast that at level 3 instead of level 2?
Sure, yeah. You're calculating
that'll
all
add
that
an
stuff,
extra-
so yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. That'll add an extra 4 damage.
Alright, sweet. Man, that was some real hurt there, man. Alright.
Okay. Yeah, that's me.
Alrighty, cool. So that's going to bring it to the end of the Rock's turn. Jenny, you're up.
Okay. Can I see the thing?
If you move, you'll be able to get within visual range of it, yes.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, you'd be able to get within visual range, but not like melee range.
Okay. Another question. Can I possibly see the way into the kitchen, like the top of the staircase?
The top of the staircase would be just beyond your view. It's just about to reach the top of the staircase, and you'd just be able to see its ass as it's moving up there.
Okay. I guess what I was gonna try to do was, because I'm worried about those people up there in the kitchen, I was gonna try to cast Major Image to like warn them off. But if I can't see the top of the stairs, I don't think that'll be useful. I'm gonna try casting Thunderwave on it.
Okay. Thunderwave's a cone, right?
I think it's a cube. Let me double
Cube.
check. It's
Yeah,
Thunderwave,
I think it's a cube image
Oh, that's
on
right.
the front of your character.
Yeah, it's a cube whose origin is at your character. So it could be any square of that cube.
Yeah.
You could just arrange it however you wanted to.
It has to be within 15 feet of me. Can I possibly hit it?
It'd be right on the edge, but yeah, you could probably hit it. There is a danger of hitting Doug since he would be just between you and the creature.
Well, no, I'm on the other side of the creature, aren't
Well,
I?
it was rushing past you. That's why you
Oh,
got
yeah,
the attack of opportunity.
I got the attack of opportunity.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, then I'm not going to do that because that'd be terrible. Another idea. Can I possibly use Mage Hand to just like grab one of its legs and just kind of halt it for a second?
You can certainly try. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to try doing that.
All right.
Says-
What is for Mage Hand? What is what does it say for like grabbing things strength wise?
It cannot weigh more than 10 pounds.
Okay.
I don't know how much a leg weighs.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that it's probably. You could probably try to trip it a little bit.
Okay. All right, I'll do that.
But that's probably the extent of what Mage Hand is going to be able to do.
Okay.
All right.
It's fine.
In that case, do a strength check and add your spellcasting modifier to it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We'll say that.
Okay. I was about to be like, strength. I'm really good at that.
Yeah, we'll say that the Mage Hand uses your spellcasting ability for strength or some shit. I don't know. We're making things up as we go along. We're breaking the rules.
Okay. That's not terrible. I rolled an 11, and my modifier is a 4, so 15.
Okay. So it's going to make an opposed check, which it does not save on. So it actually trips a little bit and falls prone.
Oh, nice.
Until the
Yes.
start of its next turn. So, Justin, what are you doing? You, I assume you're heading back up the stairs to meet with your friends.
Sure. How much do I have to move to get in sight of it?
It would be your full movement, probably, to actually get within visual. You'd be standing right next to Jenny.
Yeah, I'll take my move to get in visual, and I will cast this spell that seems super overpowered, but it's on my spell list. It's called Witch Bolt.
Ooh.
And so I have advantage. I have advantage because of Fairy Fire.
That's correct.
I didn't apply it the last time, but I figured.
Yeah, we've been forgetting.
Heat of the moment.
Yeah.
19.
19
Don't need
hits.
the All right. So, and I know the spell slots for the Warlock are. Right now, they're both 3rd level spells, so I can't control it. I'm casting it as a 3rd level spell. So that says, when you cast this spell using slot 2nd level or higher, the initial damage increases by 1d12 for each slot above first. So
yep.
2d. So it is 3d12. Which one is the 3d12? Is this? Oh, it's this weird looking guy. Okay. Let's see if I got.
Is the most underutilized dice in
Yeah, it really is.
That's why I was like, I didn't notice it. Okay, so I got 2 of them, so I'll roll 2 and 1 more. 12 and a 3 and 1 more. 23 damage.
Oh, God.
And the crazy thing about this is as long as I'm concentrating, it says on each of your turns for the duration, you can use your action to deal 1d12 damage to the target automatically.
What?
So what is the duration? Duration, concentration up to a minute.
Yep.
So I'm like,
that is a
Yep.
Keep it here, guys.
Pretty. Witch Bolt is pretty freaking cool. All right.
It basically turns you into Palpatine.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. Okay, so let me just write down some HP stuff. Alrighty. That's gonna bring it to the top of the round. Doug, what are you doing? This thing is like 10 feet past you right now, and it just fell flat on its face. Also, it's at the start of its turn that it takes the 2d4. Is that correct?
The end. Well, it was the end of its next turn, so I think it'll be this round at the
Gotcha.
end of the round.
All right.
It'll take 3d4 because I cast it at that higher level.
Awesome. Okay. Good to
3.
know. All right. So what are you doing?
Well, first, since it's prone, I'm going to do my Voldemort fly past it and get in front of it again.
All right. It is going to get an attack of opportunity. It's going to have disadvantage because it's prone.
Okay. I see is 16.
Seconds. That's a 13. No, wait, no, sorry. A plus 6 to hit. That is a 19 to hit.
It's gonna hit.
Alrighty, so that is going to be 1 and 2. It's gonna be.
I have a feeling this is not gonna feel good.
Oh, God.
It's gonna be 16 slashing damage as it just reaches up with
on a wizard
with one of its legs as you're it kind of like kicks out at you with one of its legs, and its claws just slice past you.
Did you cast mage armor before? I remember you were talking about it.
You're talking
I did,
about
but that only boosts my AC up to 16.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty.
It literally just did half my health in one hit. So,
Oh my
so
God.
as I'm flying past, I get kicked by this thing, and you guys just hear me like cry out as it cuts deep into like my side as I'm flying past it.
Speaking of, I need you to do a concentration check.
Oh god.
Oh.
Check or save?
Save, I guess. Yeah. Because it just did a lot of damage to you. So
Yeah,
what's?
yeah, I was afraid of that.
Let me just make sure that.
That's gonna be an 18 for a con save.
Okay, cool. So you do manage to
Yeah.
maintain concentration on the flight, I believe. Let me just make sure that.
Think
There we
so.
go.
I'm not sure my.
Maintain concentration. Magic spell taking damage. DC equals 10, or half the damage you take, whichever number is higher. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, you maintain concentration.
Okay.
So yeah, you're fine, and you do manage to fly right up past it. And at this point, you would be in the doorway now.
Okay. Well, what I think I'm going to do is Ray of Sickness at 2 spell levels higher than what it is.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, actually, no, I can't. I can't do that. Never mind, because I used one to fly, and I used another for Melf's Acid Arrow at level 3. So both those spell slots are burnt. I only had 2 of those, so it's going to be only a 2nd level.
Alrighty.
One second, let me just find Ray of Sickness. Okay, yeah, ranged spell attack, and I should have advantage because it. No, I have disadvantage because it's prone, don't I? Because it's a ranged attack.
So you have disadvantage because it's prone, advantage because of fairy fire, so they cancel out, and
Okay.
it's just a normal attack.
Oh, come on. Oh, please be enough. Is 15 gonna hit?
15 just hits.
Ooh.
Woo. Okay. So 2d8 poison and needs to make a con saving throw.
All right, what's the DC on that?
My spell save DC is 14.
Well, it just rolled a natural 20.
Ooh.
Awesome.
So that's going to be, what, half damage? Is that correct?
No, it still takes the full damage, which is only 3 because I rolled shit, but it avoids the poison condition.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, so 3 damage. Alrighty.
And yeah, the end of its next round is the thing.
Is the 2d4, is that correct?
3d4.
3d4, yeah.
Oh.
Well, speaking of, that's going to take it to its turn now. On its turn, it's going to
I'm hurt.
once again just try to essentially push past you through the doorway. Do a strength saving throw. It's literally just trying to shoulder you out of the way.
Ooh. Oh, that's not good. 4.
Oh.
Yeah, it rolled a 17 to just push past you. And
does that negate my attack of opportunity then?
Yeah, because you would be falling prone at that point.
Okay.
So it moves past you and starts to go back out into the hall where you guys were coming from, and it just starts running down the hall. Once again, using these weird wings, almost like legs, as it's galloping down the hall, sort of half gliding, half running. And it's going to take the 3d4. So if you could roll those.
Oh wait, 3d4. Why was I rolling 6s? Wait, hang on. Okay.
Terrible, unforgivable.
Okay, still rolled pretty good. 11 points of damage.
Awesome. Alrighty.
Wow.
11. Man, this thing is it's getting beat up.
It did a number on me, so.
All right. So as this thing runs down the hall, it turns a corner out of your sight, and after a couple of seconds, you can actually hear some screams and shouting, and the clattering of pans and breaking of dishes in the distance. God. All right. That's going to bring it to Jenny. What are you doing?
Well, I think they rightly know that though something is now rampaging in the kitchen.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Let's see. Doug, you said you took like over half damage on your guy?
I took had I took, it was a pretty bad hit. Basically, you see me just kind of like laying on the floor, clutching my side as like blood is just seeping out.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
pretty. It's not pretty at all.
Okay, I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on you at 2nd level for what's a 1d8 plus spellcasting ability plus 4. Okay. That's the first roll. It's 5 plus. So that's the 14 HP.
Okay, that actually brings me just shy. Yeah, I'm just like as you cast it, I just I'm like, thank you. Like just this poor lady dragonborn on the floor is just like, thank you.
I'm also going to move so I can get closer to it.
Okay. Yeah, so you'd be able to move roughly halfway down the hall after all is said and done.
Okay.
And just essentially like out of combat right now, you'd all essentially be able to move about halfway down the hall, and as you're moving down there, you all hear more screams and shouts. There's crashing. There are, you know, it sounds like a pile of dishes and pots and pans goes falling onto the floor. Stuff shatters. You can hear pounding of, you know, all kinds of shit as it just gets scattered everywhere.
The cakes.
All right.
Yeah, I pick myself up, and fly lasts for up to 10 minutes concentration, and I've still got it.
Yeah,
so
you did maintain concentration, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna pick I'm thanking the bard for healing me, but I'm just gonna be like, oh god, we gotta stop it from murdering the whole kitchen, and I'm just gonna like fly again up the stairs and into the kitchen.
All right, cool.
Trying to get eyes and kill this thing.
All right, cool. Justin, is there anything you want to do at this point?
I guess so. You said it's out of view. So
yeah, it kind of turned
gonna,
the corner, and it sounds like it's gotten into the kitchen at this point.
I'm just gonna chase after it because I burned through all my spell slots. That's the disadvantage of the warlock. I only have 2 3-level slots.
Yep.
That happens.
Luckily, you do have that pretty cool Pax Blade, so there's that.
Oh yeah.
All right, so running up, chasing after it, you guys go through the hallways that you were going through before with the chef and Teddy, and you work your way into the kitchen, and you come into a scene of utter chaos. The room that you were in before with all of the sinks and the dishes that were, you know, in stacks and stuff is just everything is broken. Most of the racks that were holding dishes and pots and pans are, you know, they're flipped over. There are dishes and there's, you know, broken shit all over the floor. There's the young kid who was washing dishes before, who Oswald, the head cook, was yelling at before in some other language. He's laying on the floor with a belly wound, and it's like seeping blood. He's not bleeding out, but he's moaning a bit, and you can see that it's going to leave a pretty nasty scar. And looking into the other 2 main rooms of the kitchen, you can see that in the farthest room there is some sort of commotion, and you hear you know, there something falls off of a metal surface, kind of scraping, and there's this splashing sound and the hiss of steam just rising into the air.
Oh boy!
You can actually see Teddy running. He's actually just kind of running laps around the middle room, and he's just like kind of flapping his hands in the air, not knowing what to do. Meanwhile, Oswald, the head chef, he's just picking up all kinds of kitchen utensils and implements and knives and just like throwing them into the other room, and he's just like, "You bastard, you're ruining everything." At one point he actually picks up a frying pan that has something in it, and it just spills out, and then he just throws it, and you can actually hear it clang against something in the other room. All right, what are you guys doing?
This is going so well.
I grabbed.
Listen.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I grab Oswald by his jacket, and I yell in his face, "What are we dealing with here?"
I don't know! It's terrible! It's ruining everything! It ruined my souffles! Kill it! Kill this thing!
Oh my god.
All right, so running into that center room, you've grabbed Oswald by his coat, and you're screaming in his face, and he's screaming back. Everything is terrible. And looking into the third and final room, where all of the cooking utensils and the stoves and the ovens are, you can see that this black, feathered, scaly creature is just wreaking complete havoc. It's tearing up all sorts of pieces of the kitchen. You actually see one of the line cooks just get tossed across the room. He smacks against the wall and just falls in a heap. Everything is awful. That's gonna bring it to the top of the round. Doug, what are you doing? I just dropped my pencil.
I do believe I have spell slots for this. So Ray of Sickness again. Yes, I've used 1, 2.
All right.
Okay, I have 2 more. Ray of Sickness on the damn thing.
All right. Is that a ranged spell attack?
Yes it is.
Alrighty.
Is Fairy Fire still active on it, or is that faded?
Fairy Fire would still be active on it. It's been pretty quick.
Good thing. Maybe not good enough. I'm gonna guess an 11 doesn't hit.
11.
12 doesn't hit.
No, 12 unfortunately does not hit. The ray of sickness just crashes into one of the ice boxes, these large steel containers, and it leaves this streak of sort of greenish goo that just sort of dribbles down the side until it just evaporates into arcane energy that just poofs out of existence. Meanwhile, this creature is just tossing shit around. It's breaking dishes, and there's actually a roast turkey that it just grabs in its jaws and flings against the wall, splattering everywhere. That's actually going to bring it to its turn. It's going to see that you guys have come back up. It's going to just flap its wings directly at the person who just cast a ray of sickness at it, and take one swipe, and then try to attack you with its beak.
Can I interrupt that with cutting words?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
All right, so
talk it down.
I'm going to tell it that its mother is very disappointed in all of its life choices.
What languages do you speak?
Oh my god, good question. I don't know what languages I speak.
Oh wait, actually, you know what? As you're doing this, it sort of gets the impression that you're targeting it with something, and it looks you directly in the eye, and it's like, how dare you? You actually get something like this message that just, it feels like it's between your ears, and it's just like, how dare you? All right.
He talked about his mother. That's it. We're all dead.
Yeah. Alrighty. So for cutting words, that is going to.
Cutting word. Let me double check. It's a cutting words is a. I can subtract a bardic inspiration die from the attack roll, unless the foe can't be charmed.
Okay, and that was for the first attack.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be more than one.
Yes. It's going to lash out with a bite first, and then sort of do this like kick, almost like an emu would, with its clawed talons at at Douglas. The first one was it doesn't even matter, doesn't hit. The second one, that's going to be a 21 to hit.
I'm not touching that.
So yes, the first one, you very successfully cutting words it. The second one hits. That's going to be. Let me just get the right dice here. That is going to be 15 slashing damage as it lashes out with one of its feet and just like kicks you in the chest, leaving a huge streak of blood as it cuts through your robes.
Yeah. Lots of blood.
Yeah.
Lots of blood.
Wizard's having a bad time today.
Yes.
The wizard is tanking, and the wizard should not be tanking. We don't have a tank.
Turn. Okay, and that is going to be the creature's turn. That's going to bring it to Jenny. What are you doing? It's really. I mean, this thing is within melee range of you now, since it flew over to hit Doug.
Okay, then the room is already a mess. Okay. Okay, then I'm gonna come over to it. I'm gonna try to stab it with my rapier.
All right.
I have advantage still.
Yeah, you would still have advantage. The fairy fire would not have worn off. This has been really quick.
Okay, then I get a. Ooh, that's 21 to hit.
Yeah, 21 definitely hits. Roll damage.
Or 1d8 plus 2. Ha ha ha. That's a 10.
10 damage total.
10 damage total.
All right. And as you go to stab it, it goes up and through the rib cage and out the other side just a little bit, and this kind of blackish purple blood leaks down on the blade as you pull out, and it kind of staggers backward, shrieking in your face with this huge beak. And as it shrieks in your face, you can actually see that inside the beak, it actually has almost shark-like teeth that are kind of gnashing
gross.
around in there, like independent of the beak, almost like the smaller mouth from Alien, except it's all just attached and it's just going.
Nice.
And that's what nommed on my side. Oh god.
Oh yeah, it's really gross.
I
All
look
right.
forward to eating this thing.
All right.
I don't want anything to do with it.
All right, and Justin, what are you doing?
All right. I want to move. Well, since my weapon has reach, I want to keep a little distance between me and him.
Sure.
So I'll move within. So reach is an extra 5 feet, I think.
Yes.
So I just want to move into that radius.
Sure.
But I'm going to go with my Eldritch Blast still, which I forgot to do before. Is I can add my Charisma modifier to the damage. So first bolt is 21.
Ooh.
21 definitely hits.
So what is this? It's 1d10 plus 4. 9 damage.
All right.
And second bolt 18.
18 also hits.
All right. $14 damage.
Okay. So as you unleash these bolts of energy from your hands, channeling the magical energies granted to you by an eldritch being, the energy just flies through the air, and time just seems almost to stop for you as you're so focused on this. How do you want to end this thing's life?
Ooh.
Nice.
How do I want to end its life?
Yeah, how do you want to kill this thing?
Look, I don't know.
This is it. This is the end. This thing is
it.
done.
Bam. Well, I mean, we're trying. I figure we're trying to keep it mostly intact. So through the heart.
All right. So
blast.
these blasts just one actually hits it on the side of the head, and you realize, holy shit, this thing's just done. I'm gonna end it now. The other one just goes almost like a needle-like beam and just pierces through the chest, and you actually see it shoot out the other side as one contiguous beam, and then it just blasts apart. You can actually see that there's a little hole left in the chest, and it staggers for a second. It's weird clawish wings sort of do this flapping motion where it just doesn't know what it's doing, and then it loses its balance. One leg slips out from under it, and then it just falls to the floor, slapping on the marble and the tile, leaving a pool of purplish black blood that seeps outward as you hear the death rattle. This just all right. And with that, Oswald actually, he walks up to you, and he places a big meaty hand on your shoulder, and he's like, "Oh, that was good. Thanks for doing that. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, thank you. So we're gonna cook this thing up, and then we're gonna get it to the feast. And actually, can I get some help from you guys to clean up this?"
Hearing that, I pick myself up off the floor, still bleeding out of the freaking shark maw bite in the side of my hand, walk over to him and just slap him across the face with my bloody giant claw and just be like, "We are done."
Yes.
He sort of looks at you and he's like, I'm sorry, what? And it almost seems like he was affecting some sort of accent before, and it's now come back to him. And he's like, I'm sorry, what? What do you... how dare you slap me? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I start ready. So for mechanical effect, I'm readying Ray of Sickness, but for thematic effect, I start just summoning that sickly green energy around my still bloody hand because I'm still bleeding out of my side. We are done.
What do you mean you're done? You've done pretty much half your job. You know,
We were just told to come here and get the thing for you to cook up. No one said anything about us cleaning up. So actually, he's right. We are done.
But I still need... Look at my kitchen. You've ruined my kitchen. I don't know what to do with you.
We didn't ruin the kitchen. That ruined the kitchen.
Well, whose fault is it that thing ruined the kitchen? Exactly. It's yours. You should have stopped it.
So, Sati, I didn't get to get in this last session, but she is kind of a short temper. So as he's speaking, I just let loose that blast of like in between his feet. Like as he's doing all this posturing and boasting.
Do an intimidation check.
That's not good. Do I get advantage for Eldritch Magic?
Not really.
That's not Eldritch, but... that's not good. That's a 5.
So he kind of like jumps backward. He's like, oh! And he actually moves pretty fast for somebody who probably weighs like 300 pounds or something. And he's like, "Oh, how dare you! You leave my kitchen at once!"
That's what I was going to do anyway. And I turn and just start flipping out as I'm still bleeding down my side.
I'll just like cure him real quick. That's all. Just as we're leaving.
All right. Awesome. So as you guys are leaving, is there anything else that you want to do in here before you go?
I'm gonna steal a cake.
Are you going to try and do it stealthily?
No.
Awesome. So as you were leaving, you just kind of like scoop up. Oh yeah, there's actually a big wine rack, and they also have some spirits in the corner. Yeah.
I'll grab like 2 bottles.
All right. Yeah. So as you work your way out through the hallways and tunnels, back out to the grounds of the Clegborne estate, you find yourselves on the very nice grounds of the estate. Big lawns, white gravel walkways. Still lots of people coming and going, bringing supplies for the Harvest Festival and the Harvest Feast. And feeling a little bit of a sense of accomplishment, since you just killed some manner of eldritch abomination summoned from another plane of existence, you do work your way back to the Adventurers Guild Hall. And feeling a bit tired and worse for wear, You head back to the bunkhouse, each of you with your own version of the story to tell, each of you with one more little experience under your belt, and to hopefully bring yourselves up in the ranks of the Adventurers Guild. Bailey comes to meet all of you and give you your promised payment for this little job that you've done for Lord Clegborne and his little servants and cooks and such. And you each find yourselves taking a bit of a nap, being a little worn out. And with that, we say goodbye for this session. This very special Thanksgiving edition of Dungeons and Devs.
Thank you, Dungeon Master.
That was awesome.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you for playing. Jenny, Justin, Doug, it's been a pleasure playing. This is a little bit shorter than usual, but that's okay. I think it had some good fun, energy, and and I think things worked out okay in the end. And, thank you guys for watching. Dungeons and Devs is a weird experimental thing. It's just like a hobby project for me. So it means a lot when you come and watch and just check things out and, listen to some of the discussion that we have about game development or just about D&D. But on that note, I think we're going to end things. Happy holidays to all of you guys, and we'll see you over the next few weeks for more episodes of Dungeons and Devs, including a special Christmas episode coming soon. So with that, happy holidays, happy new year, and I'll see you in 2018 if I don't see you before.